education. You will still have in urban areas, Honorable former Minister and Chairman, in the urban areas, the out-of-school dropout, you see them. In the rural areas, you don't. That's the danger. We also have to be careful that we are not producing unemployed graduates from free senior high school who would become a threat to an unemployable. So that is why Minister hailed some of the TVET initiative, because we have to improve employability. And employability is better than through technical vocational training. We will expand access to all TVET institutions. I'm aware that some of your initiatives were 30, 20, 40%, because you didn't have money because you capped Get Fund. You remember, I don't want the minority leader to look into my eye. So the uncapping didn't free resources for you to be able to expand those TVET institutions. President Mahama and the NDC will complete all those TVET institutions, given respect to the directive principles of state policy, that as president, he has a responsibility to the state to continue every good initiative of the previous government. I thank you.
Thank you. You have further question? Please go ahead.
Oh, it's okay.
And I plead that should be the last question.
The last one. Honorable Chair, I think there has been interesting debate about the issue of E-blocks.
Yes.
And
the one you abandoned.
E-blocks, we completed a number of them across the country. But the good news is that government is a continuum. And that is why, beyond completing E-blocks, we added boarding facilities to those that are in remote locations. Adansia Peja is an example. Edujama is an example. Drobonso is an example where we added boarding facilities so that the facilities will become useful to the people of Ghana. It's not about us, it's about the children. So I think beyond completing E-blocks that have not been completed, Honorable nominee, Honorable Chair, would the Honorable nominee look into the possibility of adding boarding facilities if an E-block is in a distant location and students cannot walk to the school, so they become more useful to the country? Thank you.
Chair, the government will have no difficulty at all accepting to work to add boarding facilities where it's necessary. My own personal experience during the campaign was the day I was driving from Yendi towards Miang, and you see a major E facility on the Miang road. I saw school girls and boys walking the street from Yendi, walking towards that area. That reminded me that if there's any opportunity to add a boarding facility to that, we should do that. And then also in Cherpune, and also on the same road, I saw a facility where many of the catchment communities needed that. We would have no difficulty expanding boarding facilities where necessary. Ours is to expand access, ensure relevance and quality delivery by improving the conditions of service of teachers to the best that the economy can do, and to improve their quality through motivation. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Chair, thank you. Honorable Yusuf, you may have the floor.
Thank you so much, Honorable Chairman. And first of all, let me congratulate my senior brother, Honorable Idrisu Haruna, for this nomination. And also just to put it on the record that we are very proud of you, especially with the young politicians from the north. And you serve as inspiration to us from your days as the student leader all the way to your parliamentary responsibility, from being a Minister of Communication, Minister of Employment, and now Trade, and also this. My question to you, Honorable nominee, one of the biggest challenges in our educational sector is the high drop rate of at the basic level. And according to the African Education Watch, in the northern region, only 5 out of 10 students who enroll in KG are able to complete primary school. And after that, only 3 are able to complete JSS. Being the first Minister for Education from the northern sector of our country, in the 4th Republic, what will you do to ensure that we address this issue that the Ghana Education Watch have just identified? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Chairman and members, and colleague, thanks for those warm compliments. It's important again to recognize that as a country, there is the northern-south divide when it comes to access to education, beginning from 1876, when the first school was established, and subsequently in the north we got ours around 1951. So you can imagine the gap and the deficit. Even Achimota School around 1924, at the time that Tamale Secondary School, which became the first in the north, we will work to close that gap. Indeed, even for the implementation of the free senior high school, it is noted that participation rate is very high in northern Ghana. That explains that probably it is true that poverty was a problem to accessing quality education. So it's quality, equality, and equity. I also note that there's about 5,000 infrastructure deficit when it comes to provision of junior high school, basic schools, and secondary schools in northern Ghana, and also in Oti and western north. The statistics is not too encouraging for them. The urban concept, many in this area have taken full advantage of it. With the rare privilege of the President entrusting me as his Minister for Education, I will work towards equity and improve quality to education at all levels of our country. I would endeavor to close that gap, recognizing that I may have to do some affirmative action interventions to get it going, to correct some of the historical imbalances that are deficit. I thank you.
Thank you very much. It's now the turn of Honorable Roxanne Nelson.
Chairman, thank you very much. Leader, you are welcome.
Thank you, Honorable.
Yet you are moving to your 4th ministry, from communications to trade to labor and employment, or employment and labor, and now education. I'm sure something bigger will follow this. You are welcome. Let me say that the dexterity with which you answer your questions, oscillating between different subject areas, even though they are education, tells me that you flourish in this portfolio too. You will do well. And let me also commend you that I'm part of the people you mentored. I remember very well the day you asked Abuja to mentor me because I have potential. And we are your products. You know your products. We have our 7. Sweeney is here. So we want to commend you for this. I want to wish you well. And we know that the reform that the sector cries for, you bring to bear, especially in areas that require it. The free SHS bill that was never done, I'm sure it will be one of your priorities so that it could be passed to ground this good policy. We wish you well. Approved. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much
for those warm words.
I will take a comment from the Chief Whip, Honorable Anodon Pray.
To make it brief.
Let there be order.
Who said John? Who said John?
Honorable Leader, may I have your attention?
We are not in a lecture hall.
Let me join colleagues to commend you highly for your nomination. Not to depart essentially from what my good friend Rambo Dafelako said. We've known you way back. We all know, I personally know what you have done in terms of your contribution to where I am today. I recall our days at the Nooks. I can only urge you and encourage you. I don't have a question for you.
For the first time.
Your competence cannot be lost on somebody like me. And those of us in the minority, especially. We know what you are and what you are capable of doing. I only want to caution that just be careful as you move forward. We are praying for you. Please be careful. Expectations out there are very high. And those of us in the minority, we love you. We want to see you succeed. We want to see the Honorable Haruna succeed. I am only cautioning. Honorable Leader, I'm only cautioning.
Thank you.
Just tread with caution and just be cautious. We are with you and we wish you well. Honorable Chairman, thank you.
Thank you very much. I will now move to Deputy Majority Leader, whether he has a question or a comment.
Honorable Haruna Idrisu, congratulations.
Thank you.
Indeed, and the right for the courtesies we are seeing this morning because of your long years of dedicated service to our country. And there's no doubt in my mind that you are going to be a very successful education minister. I have personally worked with you and with a lot of support as energy minister. I've sat with you, and so there's no doubt in my mind that you are going to be very successful. But the sector you are entering has a lot of challenges, and one of them has to do with industrial unrest, especially strikes by various professional groups in the educational sector. I know you've been a labor minister, and these are challenges that will stare you in your face as a minister. What are some of the strategies that you'll be adopting to address some of these challenges?
Chair, thank you very much. As I have said, it is a sector which is also advantageously has the best human resource of our country, from the professors, doctors. We will work with them. Industrial disputes are inevitable, and for a developing country, you naturally should anticipate some labor unrest, some conflict between labor and government on matters with borders on their conditions of service. For the universities, the statutes of the university provide how council can negotiate them. There were contentious issues about book and research allowance, but more importantly, it's always a question of government timeously responding to agreements that have been made with trade unions and organized labor. If you say that you want to revise allowances, it takes effect from 1st June. For many of them, they expect that by 1st July, that is ready, at least to complement what they call their meager or inadequate salary. So the finance minister can, at many instances, I've had that experience with the Honorable Seth Tekbe then when he was Minister for Finance. And Chair, if you permitted me, I'll just share this example. There was an instance where judicial service workers embarked on strike action. At the time, Theodora Georgina Wood was the Chief Justice of the Republic. And in a meeting that President Mahama requested Julius Debra, Chief of Staff, together with myself and others to engage, I had to ask the Honorable Seth Tekbe that, does he appreciate what it means when judicial service workers are on strike? If somebody was entitled to a bill, and I'm sure Honorable Minority Leader should be interested in this, if the courts don't sit, you'll be putting the person into a human rights crisis. At the time, Justice Theodora Wood related to me that, look, in our IGF, there's about 38 million. We cannot touch it because the Ministry of Finance have not granted us permission to use IGF. It was when my attention was drawn even to a major constitutional deficiency, and I'm happy to bring to your attention. At the time, judicial service workers, even up till now, unlike Parliament, you have your CI 118. This country have not treated the judicial organ of state with that. They don't have that. I think Article 1582 of the Constitution should deal with that particular matter. They are entitled to it. It was then I got the advice then from the Chief Justice that, look, let's engage the Minister of Finance, let him allow you 30–40% to use the IGF so that sometimes when these fires erupt, you can deal with it at your own level. So I want to believe that I do not anticipate. I know that SITAC is unhappy. I know many teachers' unions are waiting for President Mahama to assume office, and they will say our outstanding allowances have not been paid. We will deal with it, what is available in the national kitty. We will do our best to keep the industrial peace of the country and keep the peace within the education sector and many other sectors of the economy for the good of our country. Thank you.
Honorable Haruna, you are going to a ministry and the challenges are many. You are already aware of them, and I think a lot has been talked about. And these are no questions I expect you to answer. The challenges with the arrears of school feeding program, the challenges with gender. Well, they will have to collaborate with the Ministry of Education. Okay, well, let the nominee answer. The challenges with taking out schools on the tree, and so many others that I'm very, very sure that you are competent to address. So I wish you all the best, and congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. We proceed to take a comment from Deputy Minority Leader.
Right, thank you very much, Chairman. It will be most unfortunate if I don't add my voice to the many blessings that are going the way of my beloved son, in whom I'm well pleased. So I just didn't want to keep quiet, but to bless him. I know your competencies, and I know when people were questioning why education, I knew what you could do. So I bless you. Name of
Thank you, Chair. I hope I have the permission to call a map. Thank you, thank you.
It's now the turn of Minority Leader and the ranking member of the Congress.
Chairman, thank you very much. Leader, this room is filled to its full capacity. It tells all of us how popular you are with ordinary people. I can see behind you a lot of people. Now, I want us to do a little exercise. On your CV, you have on page 1 of 3, you have for residential address, 2 Shippy Close, Fedeos, Cantonment, Accra. if you'll be pleased. The cantonment is where you live, correct?
Yes. I live, when you are entering the house, you see the fiddles written by the wall.
Very well, Nominee, I understand. I know cantonment very well. You live at cantonment?
Yes.
Yeah, I do. I used to be in Bubuashi.
Honorable Nominee, you provide the specific answers to the very questions I ask. You know, you be my respected senior. Members want us to finish you quickly.
Yes.
And if you open yourself up, then maybe there will be more follow-ups. So you live at cantonment?
Yes.
That's all. He's answered that.
Yes.
Very well. Now, this residential facility, this property, is it a rented property or it is your house?
It is my house.
You are very honest. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Honorable Haruna Idrisu. The reason we, the young ones, respect you is such courage to face the truth that will take you higher, as prophesied by Roxanne. So it is no offense for a politician to own a property at cantonment, correct?
Not at all, depending upon your... Order. Chairman, with respect. You've had calls to caution the friends of this committee from the majority side. Please, let us observe some decorum, respectfully. Honorable Haruna Idrisu, it is saying, in crying for now, what is Mate, cantonment, baby.
I tried the tree with you because on your CV.
You should translate.
Oh, colleague. On his CV,
we don't understand.
We are not done. Chairman, this is your friend.
Language use. See, is it allowed?
Afenyo cannot even speak ever. He can't also speak ever.
Please go ahead and address the chair.
Chairman, thank you.
You can't even speak ever.
Honorable Haruna Idrisu, Pacho, why an MP if you're saying?
I bet it's 20 years in
Very well. You passed. Because the Honorable Nominee, you say on your CV that you speak English, Dakwani, Hausa, and Twi.
That's true.
I am thus far impressed with your Twi. I'm sure that there is a southern inspiration. Oh, very well.
Sometimes when I'm coming out, I don't know about church, me say,
Chair, you have disclosed that Madam has inspired you with a tree. That's great. So, Chair, I want to know from the nominee whether or not he benefited from free education.
I did, coming from northern Ghana at the time. I attended Kulkul School through Bagabaga JSS, through Tamale Secondary School and Navasco, and education was generally free for that part of our country. Thank you.
Honorable nominee, respectfully, you had your O-level in Tamale Secondary School, but went to Navrungo for your A-level. Can you tell me what inspired you to move from the Great Tamasco, right, from the great Tamasco to the great Nabasco.
Great Ghana school.
When we wrote the GC O-level exams, I think that I didn't do well in mathematics for that particular sitting. And Tamasco at that time was insisting on a particular grade. And Nabasco was open. If you had evidence that you were about rewriting, you could come and justify. So I went to Nabrongo Secondary School for the A-level. And I'm proud to say that 1991, I probably was one of the best A-level students Nabasco produced. I still hold one of the best grades ever in business management from Nabasco. That record have not been broken. And so yes, this was what motivated. But traveling to Nabrongo chair was a difficult one. 7 hours from Tamale to Nabrongo. And then you are carrying your gari in a chop box. You are not sure of the metro mass. It was, we have survived and we have come a long way. Thank you, Chair.
So, Honorable Nominee, I can understand why you had to go through a law program with those inspirations you've studied, philosophy, sociology, and all, and then from there you had to do law. Now, I note from page 3 of 3 on your CV, respectfully, your membership of the Ghana Bar, 2002 to date. As you may be well aware, as a lawyer, your membership to the bar, or with the bar, at the bar, originate from your being a member of a law firm, or a department of an agency so recognized, by the state. Now let me explain, because my respected colleague is trying to draw my attention, though not on record. When you are called to the bar, you are a lawyer. You've been called to the bar after pupillage, yes. But your annual subscription, you cannot, unless something has changed that I don't know, you are able to pay for your subscription if you can relate to a law firm or a department, a legal department of an institution. So please, that is not indicated. Which law firm do you?
Chairman, thank you very much. At that time I finished University of Ghana, even though a student activist, I had a strong bond with Speaker Alban Bakben, and therefore he recommended me for Law Trust. I've since been, one of our partners is here, James Mensah Kule, who is my law school mate. And minority leader, the chairman of this committee, I graduated from law school with him the same day, Bernard Ahiamo, with Honorable Amwakwata and Professor Abuchi and Ben Say of Nanado Chambers and others. So I am tied to law. I'm a lawyer in good standing. I've paid all my subscription. Indeed, subject to Parliament clearing me, I do 2 additional things. I'm into football and I'm into law. I appeared before the 8th Parliament to get education to hold office.
Honorable Nominee, enough. Honorable Nominee, the almighty free SHS that you're looking forward to reform, review, is in order. I mean, obviously, coming from where we started, from where people even thought it is not possible. I am happy that as a nation, we appreciate the fact that we've done so well in educational reforms. I commend the respected Dr. Yahweh Duchum for the effort. I commend Dr. Matthew Opoku Prempe, who is not with us in this parliament, for his effort. And above all, the Akufo-Addo government. I feel assured that you intend to review and look at the areas that were not too successful so that you make it better. That said, may I tease your mind on this? There is this talk that even in mighty America, free education does not include boarding. In advanced democracies where emphasis is on free education, boarding is not part. And at Ghana, we have punched above our weight by introducing free boarding. Your honest view, do you think that we continue to have free boarding?
Even expanded. Kandiga is not America. Wilgo is not America. I'm sure one of the communities in the Winneba area is not America. They have access. The transport systems are networked and effective. It is not so for Ghana. For many children, I'm sure members of parliament even have to buy bicycles to support them to be able to commit to school daily. It means that for some to access this good quality education, they need to do more. So increased boarding facilities for deprived rural areas is important. Review, as announced by President Mahama, is not cancellation. Thank you.
Honorable Chair, if the nominee will be pleased, I should proceed to have a discussion with him on the tertiary education we have in Ghana. His party in opposition promised free university tuition for year one. And in all fairness to your government, you were very specific that you pay for year one. First semester of the academic calendar for the universities have since commenced. May I know from you whether you intend to implement this policy in your first budget to take care of semester one?
On the authority of President Mahama, I'm sure his Minister of Finance, if this House approved Honorable Tuforson, will present the reset budget of the government. It will include some provision of some 345 million cedis to cater for admission fees for students undertaking courses in the normal subject areas, not professional areas like medicine. And for President Mahama, this is a model to experiment. You will look at it. How do we fare as a country? If it is possible for expansion, then he will expand it. And he's not asked that if you are able, you should not. We know that some students have already paid their admission fees. It will be refunded to them. Honorable Leader.
Honorable Chair, we are in public discourse. If the nominee will be pleased, may he bring clarity to this matter. In your manifesto launch, which took place in Efutu, Winneba, Efutu. By the way, Winneba is the capital of Efutu. And you entered Winneba with all glory and assurances to the nation. You did not say admission fee. The statement was free universities. I'm quoting President Mahama's words. Free first year tuition fees. First year, we have semester 1 and semester 2. It is the NDC manifesto did not promise admission fee for first year. It did not promise admission. So I just, with the greatest respect, at the risk of sounding immodest, pray you to bring clarity to what exactly you intend doing for the first year university students.
Thank you very much, Leader. Fortunately, I was a member of the manifesto committee, so I still recall even when we had to discuss this subject, we asked Professor Odro and a team to go out and work out the numbers for us to discuss with the president before we went public. Leader, for your purposes, tuition is free in all public universities in Ghana. Therefore, we're referring to admission fees. Thank you.
Honorable nominee, the jury is out there, so some of the issues we are unable to resolve, we'll leave it for the jury to determine. There's no problem. We have to move on. Now, let me also, for the benefit of clarity, if you say all universities, does that also mean all tertiary institutions?
Leader, if you note, that's why, for instance, expanding free senior high school, the president said public, because the double track system has to be addressed. So we have to look into private senior high school. What capacity do they have? Maybe 150,000, and you have a number of 300,000 young people who ought to be in school. Today, as we speak, year 3 and 1 are in school, 2 is home. Or year 3 and 1 are in school, 2 is home.
Honorable nominee, respectfully, I'm not cutting. I think the mainstay of my question was in respect of the tertiary. You know, we have nursing colleges. We have colleges for animal husbandry or veterinary. You know, we
use the word universities for that purpose.
So yes, so that is why other friends of committee, there is an important discussion. Now, so do I take it from the clarity you provided that College of Nursing, colleges of education, colleges of agriculture, and other colleges of in stature are not part of this first year free tuition policy of the NDC government?
I'm not able to use tertiary and university interchangeable here for this purpose. I had admission fee for first year university students. Thank you.
Chair, again, on this very subject matter, I appreciate the sincerity of the nominee, and again, the jury is out there to make their determination on this important matter. However, honorable nominee, to the expectation of the Ghanaian youth in respect of this free first year tuition, they would find the policy discriminatory if you are only giving this benefit to university students. You have earlier referred to some constitutional provisions, Article 25 and 38 and all. Don't you think that the Ghanaian youth out there who is attending a college of education, who is attending a college of agriculture, who is attending a college of nursing, will feel discriminated against since he or she is also having a tertiary education?
For President Mahama, if it was possible to grant free education to every Ghanaian, he just would have done that. It depends upon the size of the economy and what our economy vis-a-vis demands from other sectors of the economy can do. Thank you.
Babaru,
Tutubra.
Very well. So
you have to tell members that you are the only person who knows my two known name in the university.
On the TVET, you know, the enrollment levels were very low until it was also made free. Can you share with us your plans in ensuring that you sustain, one, and two, to encourage as many talented Ghanaians to walk that path in acquiring skills, rather than insisting on going into the mainstream senior high school?
Thank you very much. The relationship between industry, employability, hinges on the quality and training of young people with employable skills, which are largely technical, vocational. I'm aware that the Honorable Idrisu and his colleagues tried a number of TVET institutions. In my review of the handing over notes, the infrastructure, he just started when government had to go through the debt crisis, and therefore there was no funding to complete many of them. Be assured that we'll complete all of them to support President Mohammed's agenda to get more young people employable by way of those skills. Now, the problem with many of the TVET institutions was retooling and equipment. It's not just about building the infrastructure. If you said carpenters, have you provided for their training? If you said masons, have you provided for their training? So we'll look into it and ensure that at least every region has a model of the TVET institution that is dedicated to them, because we also must deal with a problem that you don't get 300,000, 400,000 SSS students who don't know their fate beyond completion of senior high school. Then you'll be producing a cohort of unemployment graduates for that category of young people. So we would invest in TVET. Technical and vocational education is important, and requisite financing will be provided for them. But as I said, I look forward to decapping GET fund and dedicating many of it to get robust infrastructure done.
Chair, if the nominee will be pleased, I would want to draw his attention to His Excellency the President. On his campaign, I believe he identified some challenges in the school feeding program. And at one point, he did indicate that instead of government having to procure for the schools, he will rather come up with a policy to let the head teachers themselves procure the items, the food items directly. In other words, he will transfer the funds to the schools so that the schools themselves would procure the food items for the students. May I know from you, Honorable Nominee, if indeed, beyond the campaign rhetoric, this is also part of the policies that you are going to introduce as a way of ensuring, in your own way, efficiency in the free SHS system in terms of the aspect that deals with school feeding.
First of all, to note that in our manifesto, the words that were used was to implement no academic fee policy for first-year students in all public tertiary institutions, including universities, colleges of education, and colleges, for the record, leader. So this is our
I know why I was pushing you. But I'm happy, you know.
I appreciate it.
I know why I was pushing you, because your manifesto is here. So I wanted to be sure. And so I'm happy you've gone back to clarify, to give assurance.
Thank you.
Yes, I must. If opposition leader cannot have access to your manifesto, then what is my use? I must have it.
Thank you, leader. And Chair, school feeding.
School feeding in this context is referring to the senior high school, not the basic school feeding.
Yes, school feeding for senior high school was largely done in a centralized form by the previous government, taking advantage of two institutions, the Buffer Stock Company and the Ghana Commodity Exchange. And it allowed for central pitches in some quantities of these food items. Headmasters already played some role when it came to perishable items. We have to phase out implementation because we cannot afford any food shortages as the schools run. 3rd January, we have to provide for stability of their calendar and make sure that there's adequate food and the quality of the food. But certainly the GES and headmasters will have a role. It's more, Chair, a cash flow problem and how early the Ministry of Finance releases those funds. If we are not careful, there will come a time that you would have done purchases and major suppliers will say that they won't do it because they've not been guaranteed or assured. So we have to deal with the cash flow problem, which is a matter which can be resolved between the Ministry of Finance and the Ministry of Education. But for us, is to assure that we stop pushing of the school calendar arising out of the lack of or delay in getting these food items to the school. We will work with those institutions, but define a role for the headmasters in a phased out process. Thank you.
Senior, please, employment. My constituency produces the highest number of diploma and B.Ed graduates, Bachelor in Education. As you may know, UEW was established as a specialized tertiary facility to train teachers and feed that market. On daily basis, they come to me. This morning, I received a message. Which message is to ask you what plans you have to get as many of them who have graduated and are still unemployed into getting the employment with GS.
GS, it will be a function of availability of funds and a matter of vacancies arising, the location of those vacancies, who is willing to go, and then the Minister of Finance granting clearance to the Minister for Education to recruit such number of teachers as may be desirable for the running of our educational system. As and when we get the clearance, we would honor those numbers. Thank you.
Senior, again, may I know from you about this licensure examination policy of the MPP? Are you going to maintain it? Chairman, the friends of this committee from the majority side must know how we operate. They should stop it. Will you maintain it or you will abolish it?
We will have a systematic review of it to abolish it. We are going to review the curricula of the colleges of education and the incorporate it as part of the exam that students will write, and when they pass it, they are on. Thank you.
Now, let's come to this very nagging national issue, the LGBT issue. Now, His Excellency President Mahama, recently in his engagement with the religious bodies,
specifically the Catholic bishops, indicated that the law that stops, prevents, alienates, and prevents this issue of sexual rights, same-sex relationship does not necessarily need to be enacted, and that perhaps the country can explore the possibility of introducing our value system into the curriculum so that the children can, at that elementary stage, have certain understanding of the Ghanaian value system. May I ask you, Honorable Leader, your own views about the option to introduce a value system to systematically give a certain direction to our children instead of enacting a law?
Leader and Chair, I do not want to reduce this matter to wrong. With my religion as a Muslim, you know where I stand on this matter. It is repugnant to my Muslim values and ethics. I do not want that many a Ghanaian parent would want their children trained in a way which is not consistent with the way me and you were brought up as Ghanaians, either from Efutu or from Wayamba in Tamale. And therefore, I would want to end it here, stating that we are a country and we define our values, both social and cultural. We should expect all other persons to respect those values. Thank you.
Chairman, I think I would put the question this way. You see, and I agree with Mr. President when he do not sufficiently inculcate our value systems in our children. I agree with him based on what the current status of our curriculum. I want to know from you that said, seek to opt for a value system based approach to sexual rights rather than the law.
Thank you very much. I would engage the President on the matter. The President does know my position on this subject, and it remains unchanged. But I do not think that any Ghanaian parent wants teachers to take their child to school and teach them that a man can relate to a man and a woman can relate to a man, but within the context of rights guaranteed. We are a country. We have our own values. We have a duty to preserve those values within the ambit of the Constitution. And Leader Kwamna, it is not for nothing that in the Constitution you always get words like subject to public morality. Whose morality? Ghana's defined morality. Thank you.
So therefore, is it your suggestion to the country that you will embrace a very proactive value system rather than going... Let me finish. Yes, that's the point. The reference point is a Ghanaian value system, none other. So my point is that would you assure the Ghanaian public that you, on the basis of Mr. President's vision on this matter, on Mr. President's position on this matter, will opt for a Ghanaian value system
to be introduced right from the KG, primary, all the way up, rather than a strict law in this matter?
Thank you very much. It's noted. Growing up, even with you, if you went to school, you know where young ladies could go, and you know where boys could go. That is Ghanaian value system. We'll preserve that. Thank you.
Very well. You being a senior at the bar, you're able to run away from very serious cross-examination, and you couldn't have done less. That's okay. We'll let the jury determine this matter. We'll go for a broader debate on this matter. Senior, your colleagues in Parliament have this to say about you, quote, "You are visionary, strategic, collaborative, a team player, and that you have a foresight and you pragmatic approach in solving problems." Your colleagues know you as such. What is there for you to share with the Ghanaian youth who wants to know?
Thank you.
Colleagues, Mr. Chairman, I'm compelled to make